Hey, beautiful people, how's it going? Vince checking in for episode 6 of Shapez Industries' Road to SIMAM. After having finished a smelting component to a temporarily satisfactory degree, the next thing I wanted to have a look at was combining shapes, because I know how to make a regular MAM in the base shapes game, and the combining element is peculiar to Shapez Industries, so I wanted to have a look at that first. Now, there were two scenarios I could choose from. Either I would create basic inputs, keep them ready, and then, as soon as we knew what the shape was going to be, build a combining unit that I would send the basic shapes into. The other scenario was to combine beforehand and to have the combined shapes at the ready, so that when the when the input is requested, when we know which input we're going to need, those shapes would get output to the next lanes. And that is the approach I went with. Now, because this was a very trial and error based approach for me, I already decided to do this off camera. So I actually already created something, and I would like to have a look at how it works with you. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Here it is. So I am going to use Omnishapes, and I know haters going to hate. I don't care. I like my Omnishapes. And they are going to extract quadrants. And for, let's see, for 4 outputs, we are going to need 8 inputs because of the combining component, right? So let's immediately put a shape ready here. Let's say a circle, all right. So this shape, I think it's kind of interesting. I took an Omnishape, and it's going to get rotated in a way that is going to put the component that we actually need, the quadrant that we actually need, in the top right corner. So since we need a circle, right, this shape is going to have its circle quadrant in the top right corner. And if we need something else, then the shape will be rotated until we get that in the top right corner. And we need that twice, right? But we will get to that later. After that, I decided to rotate the shape counterclockwise once, so that the shape that we need will be in the top left corner. And with that approach, I was able to siphon off the last outcoming output in a chain of 4 that come from a quad cutter. So here we get the circle quadrant in the top right, and the rest of it is trashed. The rest that we don't need is trashed. In terms of ratios, we need that 4 times for a full belt, and that is what's happening. And then I'm going to feed these things into a combiner module. Now, also here, I had 2, let's say, possible approaches, right? Normal shapes, the circles, the squares, the stars, and the windmills, they don't have to be combined, right? They are non-combined shapes. They are bare shapes. Not the animal, but, just base shapes. And only the other ones would have to need to be combined. However, if you feed the same quadrant or the same shape into a combiner module twice, and then that will also work. And for reasons of, let's say, linearity or regularity, I decided to do that. So in this case, I need a circle quadrant, and I decided to feed the circle quadrant into both sides of the combiner unit, because that will give us a circle for an output. Technically, it is very wasteful, because you are using twice the amount of input that you would require in this particular case. However, I found this easier than trying to create a bypass module that would detect when we were dealing with a combined shape and when we wouldn't, because all of that takes up space on the wiring layer. And in the bigger picture, I wanted to keep this machine as slim as possible. So that's why I did that. And not just that, as a matter of fact, even though you only need 6 combiners to create a full belt, I decided to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you're wondering why I did that, the answer is balancing. If you have 8 units of something, then it allows you to balance out your input lines. Right? So the input line, the full belt, whichever route it takes, it's going to encounter 3 splits in the road, 3 forks in the road. And that means that every one of these combiners is going to receive exactly 1/8 of the input. Okay? And that is going to prevent, it has 2 advantages. It's going to prevent clogging, first of all. There is never going to be a buildup of shapes. And the second advantage is that the changeover from one shape to a next is going to be more abrupt, right? More sudden. It's going to flip from one shape to the other more quickly, and we're going to be left with fewer intermediary shapes overall, right? So if you work with a serial unbalanced input, then if you change from one shape to the next, that transition is going to take longer. Whereas if you work with a balanced input, then the transition period is going to be shorter, right? So it's going to be more of a situation where it flips from the old shape to the new. And in terms of keeping your machines clean, I think that is the better approach for this machine. And then I decided to do something very interesting. I run this into a storage module. Here is my storage module. Have a look at it. So there are 10 possible shapes, right? Being the circle, the square, the star, the windmill. The combination of the circle and the star, which we're going to call a pointy circle, right? This is the rounded circle, combination of a square and a circle. This is the diamond quadrant, which is a combination of a rectangle and a circle, a square and a circle. This is the flower quadrant. I call it a flower. I don't know who else calls it a flower, but yeah, this is a windmill and a circle. This is what I call the Tetris piece, combination of a windmill and a square. And finally, the reverse windmill, which is a combination of a regular windmill and a star. Now, what I decided to do here, I think is pretty interesting. This is a self-sustaining module, right? Currently, it is outputting 4 lines of circle quadrants. Now, look at this. We are going to change the input to something else. Let's say, I don't know, some combined shape, whatever. This one. And before the machine makes it from left to a full belt of right, to provide this Tetris piece, these shapes are already going to be taken from the storage right here so that we can start providing the full belts a lot quicker. And the time it takes for this machine to start outputting a full belt of that Tetris piece, in that time, we will be replenishing the previous shape, which was the circle piece, right? So the circle piece, now that we get this, let's see, this has changed. So the circles that are still in the queue they get fed back into this machine right here, right? And well, currently it's a bit misleading. These units usually only take 500, a storage capacity of 500 shapes, but I have this mod installed which is called, I don't know what it's called exactly, to be honest, but it fills your storages. And due to a, I guess a bug or a misconfiguration or a lack of configuration, whatever you want to call it, it is set to 5K units, which is for the regular storage, but not the Shapez Industries specific mini storage. So it puts, whenever I apply that button, right, it puts the contents to 5,000 units. So it doesn't break the game actually, but it is kind of misleading because you cannot achieve this situation organically. I quickly wanted to disclaim that. But anyway, I have thoroughly tested this, and the shapes that feed back through the recycler module, they are actually sufficient to replenish the entire thing. And I am very, very happy with that outcome. So let's perhaps look at the wiring a bit. Let's do that by providing another shape. Why not this one, the diamond? So right now we see that the shapes are output this way. So here we get a square in the top right corner. Here we get it in the top left, and here we get the windmill in the top left. And a square and a windmill, that is going to give us our Tetris piece, right? And now that we've changed the shape, if I unpause, you'll see that the belts here, the outputs, they are also going to change. Have a look. Did you see? So now on the upper lane, this output was chosen. So now we get a star and a square. And yeah, that's how that works. So in terms of wiring, it was a bit tricky. For testing purposes, by the way, I have I have the same inputs on all of the wires. Okay. But here's how that works. So the input shape comes from the left. And it's basically just hard coding of all the situations. So it's going to compare all of the 10 shapes, and if we have a match, then we are just going to output the shapes that we need for that. So in this case, we have a diamond, and it will activate, it will resonate with this diamond comparing unit right here, and it will output a 1 on this line, which makes sure that this machine will be set to outputting stars. This machine will be set to outputting squares. Okay, that's how that works. So the only method I found was to hard code all of the 10 different shape combinations, all of the 10 different shape possibilities, and hard code that into that machine. Now here's where it gets interesting. So these shapes, by default, they look like this. All right. The next thing they're going to do is they are going to run into a belt reader, and the belt reader is directly connected to an analyzer component. The analyzer component, as you know or may not know, but probably do, will always read the top right quadrant of the shape of the signal, which in this case comes directly from the belt reader. So what it's going to do is, if we have a match, then it's immediately going to output that onto the output lane. And if we don't have a match, then it will take this route, do a quarter counterclockwise rotation, and then we are going to try the same principle. And after a maximum of 3 tries, we will always get the desired output, right? That's how that works. So the next thing is these belts are going to run into... Oh, well, no, this entire thing doesn't have any wiring for it, right? So this works wireless, completely wireless, and that gave me the opportunity, kind of counterproductive, right? Here we take the shape apart into its two components, right? Here I'm going to do the reverse. So I'm going to check, like, if we have a star at the top and a square at the bottom, then it should resonate with this particular shape combination, right? And we are going to output the diamond again. So this is actually the exact reverse of this thing right here. And the reason I did it like that is because of tileability, right? I have no space left to actually pull a wire like this one through. All of the real estate here on my wiring layer is occupied. But I did have the space horizontally, right? So I did have the space to decode this thing, use it for the rotation module right here, and then encode it again. And the encoder, well, the output of that is linked to our storage. Now, a long time ago, I made a very similar kind of storage thing, but here is how it works. So these shapes, they will pass by filters, and the filters filter for the particular item that goes into storage, right? So this filter takes it will usually take a circle quadrant signal. It would usually take this one. However, if the storage is full, which is the case, this signal will output a 1. The 1 is connected to a 0 signal, so we will get a 0 on this wire, and the actual signal of the circle, I don't know why I keep saying square, of the circle is cut, right? So, and that means that if this storage is full, if it's reached its capacity, then if we still get circles on this line, they will still be siphoned off and they will take the other route. And that way, these shapes will just travel through the entire lane until they have a match. And if they do not have a match at the very last storage, at the very last filter, well, then that just directly goes into a trash. And that's the only time when we would actually trash some units. So that's how that works, and this approach actually gives me the possibility to start outputting full belts of shapes pretty much instantly. Okay, let's take another shape and demonstrate this. Let's take the reverse windmill, for example. There we go, and we already have our full belt of reverse windmill quadrants coming out of the hub, right? That's how that works. And meanwhile, the remaining stars, because here oh no, that wasn't good. In the other, in the hyperlink line, there were also stars, right? Queuing, and they will all get fed back and feed back into this. Now, I don't know if you know about the concept of supercharging, but this is something that I took advantage of. And supercharging, the concept of supercharging, is actually, I think, an exploit, I can say, of a mechanic that probably wasn't really intended, right? It's just this kind of, I guess it was a bug in programming, but it's there, it has been there for a long time, and there are ways to exploit that a bit. So what is supercharging? There are some units, notably the balancer, the merger, and the splitter, right? These units right here, they have supercharging capability. The belt crossings, they also have supercharging capability, and I learned thanks to this machine, that the filters also have supercharging capability. And supercharging is basically that these units can output more items than what your belt speed is, right? They can output more items per second than what your belt speed is. And this does not match the indication, because if we look at a belt, then currently I am at 8 items per second. You can look in the top right corner here, right? And if I look at this belt reader, it's going to usually say the same thing, except why doesn't it? I probably have compact mode on or something. Oh, well, the merger says it. So it also says 8 items per second, but that is actually not true. It's 8 1/4, I believe. I'm not sure how much the extra input it can take, but it can take extra input, okay? And so what have I done? As long as you have belts or routes that consist of only supercharged compatible units, you can actually overcharge your belts, right? You can transport more items than, in my case, 8 items per second. So what did I do? Here, this sidechain thing, this cascade thing, consists of only supercharged compatible units. So what I did, or what happens in practice, is that when we change a shape, have a look at this. Have a look at this. I'm going to try to demonstrate this live. So I'm going to change this shape, right? And if I slowly progress here, then these reverse windmill pieces, they are going to come out here. At the same time, well, they're going to come out here at the end of the hyperlink, right? At the same time, we have a full belt worth 8 items per second worth of reverse windmill quadrants also coming from the combining unit. And they are going to pile up here. So in a regular belt, if I had used regular belts, then over time, with every shape change, we would create a small queue that with every shape change would get larger and larger. But because these are supercharged components, right, that is not going to happen. Have a look. The queue will be initial. I don't know if we will be able to see that well. There will be an initial queue in these things, but after a while, this queue will get processed thanks to the supercharging. So this is actually the first. I knew about supercharging, but I always thought of it as a completely useless mechanic / side effect of, whatever. And yeah, this is the first time I am actually actively taking advantage of it. Now, I see something here that I don't know why that is occurring. I said that these belts would never clog, and yet they do, and I don't know why that is. I might look into that. I don't know. I think it has to do somehow with the fact that I loaded up my game or something. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I'll look at this off camera some other time. Okay? Anyway, this is the output principle that I am going to work with. So now, let's copy this and let's get to some place on the map that is available to us. And then, let's get to the smelting bit we did last episode, and let's connect those with one another. Right, here is my smelting unit. Does it have wiring? Yeah, of course it has wiring. A lot of it. Okay, I feel like there is a big discrepancy in the slimness of these machines, and I should probably consider making my smelting array shorter and higher. But now for demonstration purposes, I want to do it like this first. I'm doing something wrong here, am I not? I'm sure I am. Bit of overlap right here. I need to see how I can fix that. And I think the fix should be pretty easy. Like so. Excellent. And then that same thing. Now I need to pay real close attention how I wire my inputs right here. So I know that these machines run top right, bottom left, top left. They run clockwise. So I need to make sure that I reflect that in the wiring layer by hooking up these things correctly. And I always like to work with a red circle, a yellow square, a green star, and a blue windmill, because that helps me stay oriented. So and now we need to make sure that these are, first of all, uncolored, and second of all, full shapes. So I think I'm going to use the analyzer for that, right? Analyzer is going to be the easiest. All I need to do now is rotate that. Oh no, I don't need to rotate this one. Don't need to rotate that. I will have to rotate this. Yep. Perfect. Then that's also good. And this one will probably be the trickiest. Oh no, it's not. We're perfectly fine here. Okay. Happy man. Happy man. Good. So now, yeah, let's get back these base shapes. And now let's see if my machine is up to par with that. Okay, let's take, how about this one? We're gonna put that in. We're gonna create some fun shape variations, why not? How about 2 star 6. What does that look like? Okay, that's what that looks like. So let's see if those are now the components we're getting. I am supposed to be getting the top right, is that the rounded square? I think it is. The rounded circle? The rounded square? I think it is, right? And regular square. No, regular square top right, and then one smelted piece of rounded square. Bins. Regular circle in the top right. Rounded square, star, reverse windmill. That's it, right? Yes. That is one smelted quadrant we should be getting. So let's see how our machine does. This might take some time. Especially since now these storages are actually empty, so the machine still needs to start up, boot up. So these, yeah, the idea is that when we get to the final MAM, then these storages would be full, right? But because I copy-pasted this right now, storages are still empty, which means it takes an extra long time for it to get started. But once it does that, Excuse me, where is the last piece, please? Where is it? Why doesn't this do anything? Oh, well, if you connect it wrong, that's the reason why. That's the reason why. Let's try that again. By the way, all hail the 8 frames per second frame rate. 8, 9. Yeah. Splendid. So we get the stars out here, and we get the windmills out there, and that is going to provide the reverse windmill component out of the balanced combiner. Okay, there the shapes go. That will slowly turn into a full belt. And then let's see what's going on here in the meantime. This stuff gets combined with, gets stacked with one another. And now that gets combined here. Now that's looking good, isn't it? This machine takes a long time. It does take a long time. I think I could do better, especially, you know, with the new realization that it serves no purpose to make this machine as slender, as thin as I tried to make it. If this machine is going to be this height anyway, right? I might as well take advantage of the fact that this is going to be our minimum height anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to this, and I'm gonna try to make it, yeah, you know, a little bit shorter in exchange. But overall, it works. So, and that is the first important thing, right? We get 2 full belts. Well, this one is still filling up, but it will get full. I'm sure of it. Of this shape that we intended, let's try something else. Let's try, how about this one? And also here, I would like to try some special combined shape, right? Let's say circle, diamond, circle, diamond. Why not? This looks kind of cool. And there we have it. The machine does take forever and a day, but it does what it's supposed to do, and that makes me truly happy. I am very relieved. I'm very relieved with this result. A part of me was afraid that I would run into trouble and it wouldn't work the way I wanted it to, but it absolutely seems to do that. So I'm a happy man. I'm a happy man. And I think that is sufficient for this episode, actually. Next time, we are going to have a look at how we can paint these shapes, because now, after they've been smelted, they will need to get painted. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. I hope you are too. If you like the video, as always, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for updates, all that good stuff. I hope you had fun watching. For today, we are going to end the episode here. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day. I am signing off. Bye.